We start off as we see Chika and Takahashi are in their house. Takahashi seems to have come back home after a hard day's work and is removing his tie and relaxing. His wife Chika is in the kitchen cooking something. She looks surprised as she gets to know that his birthday's tomorrow. She apologizes to him and says that she forgot. She tells him that she didn't get anything ready for him. He looks sad as he says, "Oh, whatever. I'm old enough to not need to celebrate anyways, right?" He stays silent and slowly looks at her. He sees that she's trying her best to not burst out laughing. He looks at this and asks her, "What?" We see a bag of presents on the floor near her leg. She didn't really forget his birthday. She tells him that he can start saying things like that once he starts earning more. He smiles and replies with, "Touché." He suddenly gets behind her as she's still cooking and says, "Well then, what a shame." She gets shy and tells him that he's in the way as he hugs her from the back, and they both start laughing. Now we see that she actually had a bunch of gifts ready for him. We see them enjoying their dinner as Chika smiles with great joy, and Takahashi looks at the gift he got from her. As he remembers his wife smiling at the dinner table, he says that she was always his happiness. She was his beloved wife. Then, she was diagnosed with cancer. She had 6 months left. We see him hugging his wife tightly at the doctor as they hear the news. He remembers this and says he swore he was going to do his best so that they could stay together as long as possible. Half a year later, we see a bunch of IV bags. We see Chika connected to them as she's laying on the bed. She looks completely different. She looks miserable. Now we see Takahashi in the hospital, going to his wife's room. He slides the curtains to her bed, and with a bright smile, he wishes her a good morning and asks her how she is feeling. She looks at him and turns around. She starts twisting her hair, which is thinned down to a fraction of what was there before. She turns around and turns the TV on as she tells him that she told him before to say something before opening the curtain and that everything hurts. Hearing this makes him sad. He apologizes to her. She tells him to leave his bag right over there and that her laundry is over there. As she's still looking at the TV, she tells him to lend her some pocket money. He happily agrees to her and keeps an envelope on the table as he tells her that he's leaving it there and tells her to please lock the drawer. He gently tells her to do her best during today's treatment and that he'll do his best too. She stays silent for a bit. As she's still not looking at him, she tells him that she's doing her best even without him telling her to. Even though she's gonna die anyway, she still does her best. Hearing this pains Takahashi. He apologizes to her and tries to tell her something, but she increases the TV volume. The person in the TV program she was watching starts saying that her husband is the worst, and that she has to explain everything to him, and that all men are the same no matter what. He understands that she doesn't want to talk to him and apologizes to her and goes home. He says this and walks out of the room. Some people see him walk out and talk about him. As these people are eating their lunch, they say that it's incredible that he goes to see his wife every day. They talk about how she's so young, but she has cancer. The other woman says that it's gotta be love that makes him do this every day. We see him go to his office and work after he went away from the hospital. After his work, he returns back to his empty home and stares at the hallway. He keeps his bag at the entrance. Now we see him sitting at the dining table and writing something in his books. He looks at his wallet and thinks that it seems like they made it through this month too. We see his bank account has 60,961 yen remaining. He looks at an envelope of money and thinks, what does Chika even need the money for? As he thinks this, he suddenly thinks of her sitting alone in her bed in the hospital as she stares at the TV. Seeing this reminds him how much pain she is in. He snaps out of these thoughts and thinks that money shouldn't be a problem. He should let her do whatever she likes for her sake. He just needs to save a bit more, that's all. As he's thinking this, he notices something. He sees the basket of laundry of his wife. He says that he forgot to go to the laundromat. He remembers her asking him if he's expecting her to wear the same clothes 3 days in a row and saying, "Fine, I guess I don't mind." We see him walk out of the house with the basket of laundry. He sits at the laundromat all alone, looking at the washing machine turn round and round with his wife's clothes in them. He suddenly remembers the past when his wife was all healthy and cheerful. As she blushes and puts her clothes in the machine, she tells him to stop looking as her underwear is in there. He remembers saying, "Isn't it fine? It's only underwear." She replies and tells him that it's not fine. His eyes look pale and sad as he remembers this. As he's looking at the wallet his wife gave him before, the machine goes off. He gets up, and as he takes her washed clothes from the machine, he tells himself that he's not the one who's suffering the most. It's Chika who's had everything changed because of her sickness. He remembers the day he got married to her and thinks that he'll do whatever he can. He and Chika promised to do at least that much. Now we see him take the washed laundry and walk into his house. As he enters his house, he gets a notification. He unlocks his phone and opens his chat with his wife. We see his previous texts where he tries asking his wife to video call, but she tells him that she doesn't want to. The new text says that her friend is coming over tomorrow, so she wants him to buy her a cake. Now we see him sleeping on the sofa as the entire living room is a mess. He thinks of his wife and says that it's been 6 months of this same routine. No matter what he does, she won't even look at him. Suddenly, he gets a horrible thought. He thinks, when's Chika finally gonna die? He suddenly realizes what horrible question he is asking. He immediately gets up. He looks scared and worried as he holds his hands together and sits there in silence. He is scared that he might really say it someday, and that scares him. The next day, we see him back at the ward where his wife is. As he stands there, he thinks that he got here earlier than expected, so he'll just kill a little more time and then come back. He turns around and is about to leave, but suddenly he hears someone say, "I don't know if it's okay to say this, but I think you should be a bit nicer to Mr. Takahashi." He turns around as he recognizes the voice. He thinks that Chika's friend is already here. He stands there behind the door as he hears the friend say that she saw Takahashi the other day, but his face looked terrible. The friend tells Chika to not say such harsh things to him all the time and that he's taking care of money and everything else. Chika hears this and laughs as she asks, "You think I've been pushing it too far?" The friend replies and tells her that this isn't supposed to be funny. Takahashi stands there listening to them. Chika continues and says, "But what else can I do but take it out on him? I've got terminal cancer, you know?" The friend tells Chika that it's not that she can't see where she's coming from. She gets a bit cautious and says that it's hard for her to say it like this. But even after she's gone, Takahashi still has to live on. The wife agrees and says, "I know." Takahashi hears this and clenches his bag handle. Suddenly, Chika speaks and says, "That's why, before I die, I'm getting him to give me everything I wanted." Hearing this shocks Takahashi. The friend is also confused as she asks Chika what she is saying. Chika replies and explains that when she was told that she didn't have long to live, she made a decision. She was going to be the absolute worst she could be, so that Takahashi, after she finally died, would think, I'm so happy it's over. She wants him to enjoy the rest of his life. Takahashi hears this and stands there in shock. The friend gets confused and says, "Wait, you're doing it on purpose? It's obvious you'll get found out. You're the worst at lying." Chika agrees with her. She continues and says that's why she always talks to him, without looking at his face. Otherwise, it'd show on her face right away. Takahashi finally understands why she didn't look at him. He remembers the time on his birthday when she was struggling to hide the surprise. He immediately drops the cake and starts walking to her bed. As he is walking to her, she continues telling her friend that she already knows that. Bit by bit, Takahashi is losing feelings. He looks angry and frustrated as he approaches the bed. Chika is telling her friend to keep this all a secret, but suddenly, he slides the curtain. Chika immediately turns the other way as the friend looks at him and gets surprised. The friend gets up and apologizes as she tells them that she's gonna go home now. The friend runs away. Takahashi looks at his wife and stands there in silence. She tells him that she told him to say something before coming in. He looks at the TV as he sees the reflection of his beloved wife crying her heart out as she tries to act rude to him. He finally understands why she never even looked at him and questions himself. Why didn't he realize it sooner? He stands there with his head down, trying to control his emotions. He tries to ask her about what she just said, but Chika tells him that she doesn't need the cake anymore as she tries to wipe her tears. She tells him to hurry up and leave as he's bothering her. Hearing this angers him. He tells her that if she doesn't want to change her ways, he can do the same. She tells him that if he has nothing to say, he should leave already. He tells her to listen carefully, and suddenly hugs her tightly from the back. Seeing him hug her surprises her. As he hugs her tightly, he starts saying, "I hate you. Hurry up and die already. I'm begging you." She hears all this and starts crying. They both start crying their hearts out as they hold each other. She starts saying that she wants to die right now. She hates him and tells him to hurry up and get away from her as she cries. He holds her tightly and listens to her. They both sit together as he holds her. He explains that his wife's best lie of her life had been finally exposed. At that moment, it was as if they had been taken back half a year ago. He didn't know if the timing had been fated to happen this way, but God took her away from him a few days later. Now we see Takahashi looking at a book as he can vaguely hear someone. He sees all the envelopes of money he had given to his wife were kept untouched by her. We see that someone is calling him now. He turns around to see them. We see someone apologize and say that she knows that this must be hard on him, but it's almost time for the ceremony. He looks at the papers and says that it's sad, but somehow he'll be okay. She pulls out some photos from an envelope and tries to discuss which photo to choose of the deceased. She puts down a photo of his wife. One is of her dressed up nicely at someone's wedding, and another one is of their own wedding. She tells him that, in general, she would recommend these kinds of photos for the ceremony. With tears in his eyes, he looks at the photo which he took of him and his wife after they were done crying in the hospital. She is frowning in the photo as he is smiling at his adorable wife. He tells the woman that he likes this one better. And this is how this chapter ends. Hope you all enjoyed. Please like, share, and subscribe, and leave a comment. Thank you